impropriety. There's been no evidence of any conflict of interest. There's been no evidence of any quid pro quo. And if we look at the source of any donation, you can look to Seattle in the lake area that Paul Allen donated all the money to build the light rail to, yet he owned all the properties surrounding it. And so I do not believe the city at this point should go beyond the fact that it's a donation. Is it for the benefit of the city? Will it be a benefit and enhancement to the citizens? And then concern itself with that and not know any potential speculative matters that could come before it.
Thank you.
Councilmember Case.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to it. I read the letter and the accusation, and based on my conversations with people, we've got the wrong name on the letter, so the wrong person's been accused. So that just further clouds the issue, and again, just proves that it's more anonymous than not.
Any other comments from council? Councilmember Steiger.
I heard through some things that we, after a meeting the other night, there was a statement made by an individual that he was, and he stepped up, made it very vulnerable that he was the one that made these donations. And
That's not the name on the letter.
well, still, somebody claims that they made the donation, so no longer they are known. So that, as far as I'm concerned, until that statement made by that individual is totally investigated, I do not see that we accept these money, because in those statements, it was kind of like, the statement was made like, we've been held hostage a little bit. And I don't like what I heard. Again, I don't know the facts of what I heard. So I will not vote for the measure.
Any other comments from council? Councilmember Knut.
Regardless of what's in the letter, if somebody's made a public declaration that they are the person that's donating money anonymously, does that make it no longer anonymous?
Yes.
So this person has an illegal business in the city of Pacific, could that be construed as a payoff?
Well, Councilmember, you can construe anything, any way that you want to. The issue before the council this evening is whether or not the city should accept a donation to the city for the benefit of the city. It has nothing to do with any legislation. There's been no conflict of interest. And if we got into the motivation of somebody when they made a donation to the city, then the city would spend all its time trying to figure out what was meant, and nobody would give the city anything. The issue becomes when the matter comes before the council for a vote, is the council person that's making the vote in a conflict of interest? Is the council person doing something improper or any impropriety? Or are they receiving a quid pro quo for their vote? If that be the case, then those are violations of the state constitution, of the state law. Accepting the donation is a totally separate item from the consideration of anything that the individual may have that's brought before the council.
But we're asking to accept a donation from an anonymous donor, and it's no longer anonymous.
Then, if that person is publicly indicated to other council members who their identity is, then change it.
Councilmember Putner.
Have heard two different names of supposedly having made this donation. I have seen no documentation. Are we sure that either of the people purported to have made it is in fact the person who made it? Do we actually know as a fact, as a council, who made this donation?
Any other comments or questions from council?
One other, that this would not be the first business person in town who's made generous donations to the city while at the same time having controversies with the city. We have in the past accepted donations from many different businesses, even when those businesses had ongoing conflicts with the city. I think the standard that's to be met is, do we take it and then treat it like a payoff, or do we take it, thank them, and then follow the rules when we consider their issues?
Any other comments from council? Any comments from the audience?
Don Thompson, 416 Second Avenue, Southeast Pacific. The city accepting donations, is there a 5013C factor plan under this? How does the person declare that an income tax deduction? Just a question.
Any other comments from the audience? Okay, seeing none, roll call council.
Councilmember Holding. Councilmember Jones.
Aye.
Councilmember Cave.
Aye.
Councilmember Smithson.
Nay.
Councilmember Putnam.
Aye.
Councilmember Steiger.
No.
Councilmember Walker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 14-131.
I guess that would be me, Tim, tonight. I didn't realize that was on there. So, a couple weeks ago, we passed an ordinance allowing the formation of the street assessment recovery areas or reimbursement areas. It's comparable to a latecomers agreement. What it allows the city to do is make improvements to public needs that a business might have had to make as a condition of site improvements. We make the improvements now. We identify the area, let the property owners know what their assessment will be, and then in the future, within a set period of time, should they apply for a permit to make site improvements, they would at that time be required to pay their assessment. This particular assessment area is the intersection of Stewart Road and Thornton Avenue. There is a traffic signal that is going to be installed there. The general public does not benefit by this traffic signal because the general public is primarily going through that intersection. It is the neighbors, it is the businesses who own property north that will have access through that intersection, and businesses to the south that will also receive benefit from this. That's the basic project there. Based upon the cost estimate from the engineers, it is $600,000 worth of improvements that are being made in conjunction with the Stewart Road project. The property owners at the southeast corner of this intersection, when the short plat was done there a few years ago, were told that they would have to contribute to the signal at the time that it was constructed. We did not have numbers. We didn't know when that signal was going to be built. Those business owners will now have to pay that assessment as a conjunction. We've already been working this project with the property owner to the north of the intersection as part of their development agreement. They've agreed to pay what their assessment would be for their share of the traffic signal. The assessments were derived. We had parametrics. There was a contract with parametrics. They did an analysis based upon what each of the parcels was zoned and what the projected traffic might be there if it was put to its full and beneficial use. And so that is how these assessments were determined. They figured, here was the traffic count for each one of these parcels, here is the total traffic count generated, and then a percentage was then assigned based upon what each parcel's percentage of the total would be. And then that's how the costs were then redistributed down. Hopefully that explains it.
So tonight we are to set the hearing?
Yes.
Motion from council?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 14-131.
Okay, would you like to speak to your motion?
I think it's been spoken to enough.
Councilmember Steiger?
One of these little hurdles, we gotta get cleaned up so we get that road done.
Any other comments from council? Comments from the audience?
Is there a hearing date in the title?
Yes, and I was going to state that. The hearing is set for April 14th at 6:30. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sue O'Neill, Sue O'Neill. I'm not a local resident. I have relatives who are here, and they are impacted by that improvement. What I'd like to know is what your ordinance is for notifying people as far as Lake Cumberland notifications for assessments. Do you have a city ordinance here that indicates timeframes here for public comment? I know you're arriving at that right now tonight as far as setting a date, but what is the duration of that so that people can go out and do their own, if need be, appraisals and cost-benefit valuation based on?
20 days
Okay. From what date?
from the date of that the certified mail was sent out.
And you feel that's sufficient for due process?
That's the standard.
But is that sufficient for due process as it relates to appraisal?
You can object at the hearing at that time, and then it can be postponed.
Okay, but is there a time frame comment period beyond the 20 days where you will amend that or look at
20 days
possibilities?
is the appeal period, and as the appeal, then we have to determine where it goes beyond that point.
Okay. For the Public Disclosure Act, what's the process in which to require your studies, the full studies themselves?
So,
So you already have completed the cost-benefit studies and appraisals for these tie-in properties, so to speak, and you have assessed valuations based on, I'm hearing, square footage, or acreage, or?
It's a combination of the square footage and the zoning,
Okay.
because their traffic impact studies develop what is the potential traffic derived from that property if it is put to its full beneficial use based upon its zoning.
Okay. Is that with existing ingress, egress allocations on those properties? In other words, existing driveways or proposed new driveways, or a lot of these properties
I'm
have...
going to have to interrupt this. This is an opportunity for you to comment on
Okay.
the time that we're setting the public hearing. You'll have an opportunity to speak at the public hearing.
Great.
And we generally, when we're taking comment, we do not dialogue in a question and
Okay.
answer.
That's fine. I just wanted to know if there was a specific ordinance for the time frame in which the mailing of your information for assessments versus the public comment period. How many meetings you'll have is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Just one, or?
We will be having the public hearing, and it will be coming up on workshops,
Okay.
so you'll have the opportunity as well to
Perfect.
hear
Thank
what
you.
we're talking about. Any other comments from the audience? Okay. Seeing none, roll call as council.
Councilmember Jones.
Aye.
Councilmember Cave.
Aye.
Councilmember Knutson.
Aye.
Councilmember Putnam.
Aye.
Councilmember Steiger.
All right.
Councilmember Walker. Councilmember Hilton.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 14-132.
Councilmember Walker advised earlier, we brought this to Technology Committee today for the purpose of answering those questions, which were great. They came right from the horse's mouth, so I hope that they answered your questions. And resolution number 14-132 authorized the purchase of an innovative software program, file on queue, in the amount of $8,205 for the police department.
Okay, questions from council? Okay, what's council?
I move to approve resolution number 14-132.
Second.
All right. Councilmember Hilton.
Yeah, it allows the evidence clerk to move from being one step above the architecture into
The system that they're using, the DOS system, is probably about 26 years beyond its deemed usability, and from the sounds of it, it's dying every minute we talk about it. So we've had answers on a technology committee that Councilmember Walker presented. Every one of those items were addressed, and I feel we need to move forward with it.
Okay, other comments from council? Councilmember Tate, do you have something?
Well, I just had a question. Technology spoke to it, but it spoke to it kind of vaguely with some specific questions about, the tie-in with DOS, bringing it forward, and how it matched. I just wanted to get more in-depth report on that.
Yeah, so when they met with the vendor, one of our points of contact with Auburn IT was on, and they exported, Stephanie gave us some numbers, but several pages of the existing system and imported it in. It took very little time to put it in Excel and import it in. The Auburn IT director was here tonight, and they figured, and Stephanie might have said it, they're figuring about 2 hours to import the whole thing. So it's a pretty easy process to transition it over. And one of the other questions that came up, I think I asked it last week, was annual agreement. It was sounding kind of weird that there wasn't an annual cost associated with it. The first year is free. It includes unlimited training, web support type training. They actually come out and set it up for us. They do a day where they come out and set it up. They provide training to Dan and Stephanie. And then we are provided a year's worth of service. They do offer a yearly package that includes training, support, and then in-version updates and bug fixes. It's about $1,700 annually. We discussed the technology, but if we want to go for the year and then make a decision if that's something we want to subscribe to at the end.
So what would be the purpose of the subscription? Just to
It would-
stay up to date? Is it something you could go a few years and then do a subscription to bring everything up, or?
Yeah, we could find out. One of the benefits of having the year is, how many updates do they release in a year? If it's one update a year, maybe go on a couple of years. It also calls out bug fixes, so the year kind of gives us a test drive period to see, what it's like, what their service is like. Like, I don't think we're going to need the support. Stephanie even said that she doesn't think we'll need the support once it comes up and running, but depending on what kind of enhancements and stuff come with it. So. But it does, she did confirm, it provides enough licenses. All of our offices will have access to it. Stephanie's family will have access to it. It gives us access to have 2 people in the system at one time. So it's 2 licenses, but they could have, one officer entering evidence and Stephanie or Sam maintaining or managing it. So I think it will work out well for us.
Any other questions from council? Questions from the audience? Okay, seeing none, roll call of council.
Councilmember Tate?
Aye.
Councilmember Knutson?
Aye.
Councilmember Putnam?
Aye.
Councilmember Steiger?
Right.
Councilmember Walker?
Aye.
Councilmember Colby?
Aye.
Councilmember Jones?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.